I remember going to work and finding my coworker reading at the counter. Now, I asked her why she was reading at work, and she said there was a trend on TikTok going around claiming that reading makes you look more attractive. She said people are romanticizing reading. Curious, I quickly checked TikTok before my shift, and this is what I saw. A bunch of clips of people sitting in cafes pretending to read. They would just sit in the cafes with a book in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other, and they would take really small sips of the coffee and read one letter at a time on the book. It would take them hours to go through one page. Now, some videos were even time-lapsed, showing that these people were doing it for literally hours. For what? Attention, views, finding a partner? It just didn't make sense to me. Reading is very important to me as I love to learn. And reading has so many mental benefits. But you gain those benefits when you actually read, not when you pretend to read. So it begs the question, why are people romanticizing reading? To be fair, I find people who read slightly more attractive than those who don't. Emphasis on slight. It doesn't play a major factor in my decisions. It's just something I notice. But these people on TikTok make it their whole personality. I find it very important to have a goal when I read, because I read a lot of non-fiction. My goals tend to be about learning something new, whether it be finance or business or philosophy or science. That doesn't mean learning is the only goal. A lot of people tend to read, to escape reality, like watching a movie. They get emotionally attached to the characters, and the progress to the book really drives them. This is also, a super valid goal. But what goal is driving these people to rock up to a cafe and pretend to read? The answer, I honestly have no idea. If you have any idea, let me know in the comments below. But from my understanding, from what I've seen, I guess it's mainly wanting to appear more intelligent. Studies do show that people who read non-fiction tend to perform better in general knowledge tests, social intelligence, and self-control tests, while people who read fiction tend to understand other people's emotions much better. Now, these aren't the be-all, end-all studies, it's not like if you read, you're going to turn into Einstein, but there are definitely a lot of benefits that come from reading. But again, why? Why pretend to read? Why pretend to be smarter when you can literally read the words in front of you, on the page in front of you, and actually just be smarter? Like, actually gain these benefits rather than just appearing like you have gained them. Just doesn't make sense to me. Now, let's say you actually want to start reading. How do you start? Well, firstly, I would start with making a goal. It doesn't have to be some elaborate or complicated goal. It could simply be, I want to read to learn something new. Or I want to read to replace my TikTok scrolling. Super simple goals. Then next, we're going to find a book that we want to read and start reading. It's that simple. Now, I like to make notes while I read, so I can retain the information that I've just read, because I read a lot of non-fiction books. But, some books I don't. Some fiction books I read, I don't take any notes because I just want to enjoy the book. Now, finally, understand that reading will be hard. It's supposed to be hard because the dopamine you get from reading is very different from if you're doom scrolling, okay? Or if you're on TikTok, because these sources naturally give you more dopamine. So your brain tends to veer towards them rather than reading. But dopamine is relative. So if you read more, the dopamine from reading will actually slowly balance out and be more than if you were doom scrolling, okay? So reading does eventually get way easier, okay? Just persevere, stay strong, and eventually reading will feel great. Also, when you read, you will tend to daydream or drift off while you're reading. Super normal. It happens. It's fine. Just try to focus your attention back on what you were reading and then ask yourself, what did I just read? Now, if you remember what you just read on that page, awesome, cool, move on. If you don't, I would go back and just read that page again, just to reassure yourself that you actually are gaining something from the book. Now, this is what I do for all the books that I read. I drift off a hell of a lot when I read. It's something that happens. So I ended up reading the book, twice, every page twice. But it is what it is. Also, one last thing, read to read, not to fill up a library. Now, some people love to finish books and tell their friends that they've read all of Dostoevsky's books and all of Friedrich Nietzsche's novels, and now that they're super smart. But in reality, they kind of just rushed the book and didn't actually absorb anything. Now, these people read for the sake of creating a library filled with books that they've read, okay? Don't be like that. Actually read every page and constantly question yourself about what you were reading, okay? Because reading is super interesting when you're in the zone. When I learn something new in a book, I honestly feel fantastic. And I've learned a lot of stuff from reading books. And I've only been reading for a short amount of time, a few years. Now, I may not finish a book as quickly as some other people, but I make sure to read from start to finish every page. No page missing. I don't like skipping through it, okay? Because I like to gain something from every book that I read. If I gain knowledge or emotion, then that was time well spent. Otherwise, it's literally the same as just doom scrolling on TikTok. It's something that just passes the time by and doesn't really benefit us. So when you read, really focus on what you're reading and try to gain something from it, okay? Whether it be knowledge or emotion. That's the end of my rant, guys. Thank you so much for watching it. Maybe you learned something new, maybe you didn't. I sure as hell feel much better letting that go. Romanticizing books, it seems very silly. Just read to enjoy reading, I would say. But yeah, that's about everything I have to say. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this. I'm going to be releasing a video soon about another really big book and how you can benefit from that book soon. So stay tuned. Thanks, guys.